Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time, 7 o'clock, and we're going to call this meeting to order. And if we'll all rise and just have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Tammy, would you take the roll?
I certainly will, sir. Chairman Larry Applefield.
Here.
Member Phil Franco.
Here.
Member Robert Ascott.
Here.
Member James Hoster.
Here.
And please let the record show that Member Pat Rogers has advised she will be late this evening.
Thank you, ma'am. I thought that the city manager at the last meeting said that we were going to have another member here tonight, but I guess that's not the case. Anyway, we got enough for a quorum, so we'll go ahead. Okay, we need to have an approval on the minutes of the meeting of February 25th. Any additions, corrections, deletions?
Was there any further correspondence, Mr. Chairman, to add to the meetings from the
No.
council, perhaps?
Not with me. Is that what you mean?
No, there was no correspondence from the city about our meeting.
No,
It should be added. Okay.
no.
I'm going to approve.
Is this okay? Okay with you?
Second.
James? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So moved. Sign it later. Okay. The big announcements tonight was the fact that I was going to introduce the new member of the board, but we'll put that on for the next meeting, whenever we have that. All right, so we're here tonight to by a request by Ginny Sorrell, who lives on Green Street, and she's looking for a variance to give 4 feet on the side yard setback for a screen enclosure to her pool. I wanted to make mention of the fact that while we have this meeting here tonight, there will also be a council meeting on Tuesday, January 9. And whatever happens here, that you all should go to that meeting as well at City Hall. Okay, somebody want to make a motion so we can put this on the table? Either way. Yeah, I will. Okay. I need a motion to put this on the table.
Make a motion to approve.
Got a motion, second? Thank you very much. So it's now on the board. Anyone going to speak here tonight in favor of the petition?
May I make a comment? I just wanted to make sure that the board is aware that the conditions for a variance are set forth in the application, and it is essential that the applicant meet all of those conditions. Ms. Sorrell has prepared a page in this particular packet here that shows how she meets every single condition of the variance application, and I just wanted to point that out to you.
Thank you very much. This board has been together for about 5 or 6 years, I guess, and I've been here for about 15. So I think we're pretty well aware of the variances and the other items that we have to cover. But thank you for bringing that to our attention. We have, is the petitioner here? Are you going to speak on your behalf?
Yeah, I will.
Okay. Is your contractor here?
No,
He's not here.
I didn't know that he needed to be here, or I would have called.
Okay. Would you please rise and have Tammy swear you in?
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the information you're about to provide is the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. What would you like to tell us today?
I would like to enclose my pool, and I put together this variance application so that I might do so. And I think that I've made my case fairly well. I'm not asking for anything that anybody else in the state of Florida that owns a pool would not be asking for. So I feel like that there probably isn't too much to say about it in that regard. I would just like to get it done as soon as possible so that I can enjoy my pool.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Okay. I do have a question, though.
Yes, ma'am.
When you talk about the 25-foot side easement that goes in a yard, where's that measured from?
I'm sorry, what was the
The
question?
25-foot easement that is on the application for the side yard, where is that measured from?
From your lot line.
From the lot line, so it's not from the street?
No, ma'am, it's from your lot line.
Okay, so.
You don't own the street,
No, I hope not.
but you do own from your lot.
Oh,
On.
okay.
So that's what that's all
So it would
about.
be since this is a side, would it be from the street over?
It would be from your lot line
Over.
over.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, do you know the size of your lot?
Do I know the size of it?
Yes, ma'am.
I have the,
Because the map that you turned in was apparently something that someone else was going to do for you, and it's not really. Okay, what do you get on it? What is the total lot size?
It's probably this one is.
Yeah.
I believe it's 68.
68 by what, Bobby?
It's got a little bite out of it, 68 by 140 on one side, and then there's a 68, so it's 100 here.
Yeah. Oh, I see, it's
It's got this
irregular.
little
It's
bite.
so irregular.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're on the end of the
Okay.
canal here.
Okay. One of the provisions of the code that has nothing to do with this board, but does to do with city council, is that section 30204E, number 6 says that single-family residential zoning district R1s says that maximum building coverage is 40% of a lot.
okay.
I think you probably meet that requirement, but I just wanted to let you know
Okay.
that that's part of it. Okay, I open it up to the board. Any questions for this young lady?
Is the cage mainly for no-see-em type things?
Mosquitoes and debris, and really, it's kind of like a secondary safety issue for the pool. I have a fence that's there, but if that was breached because of the busy traffic that goes up and down Bay Boulevard, then that pool would be unprotected.
Just one little question here, it's an aside type thing, are you gonna use no-see-em screen?
Yes, I hope so.
Go ahead.
That would make my life much easier.
I have no other questions. The comments I have is that, number one, this will be within her fenced area. And it's less intrusive than the fence would be, and the fence has been there for a long time, so it's already
Yeah.
grandfathered in.
Hi,
So
Pat.
I don't see a problem with it.
One of the problems that I had in looking over your material is it wasn't clear at all in terms of what you anticipated doing. Are you anticipating putting up another fence?
No,
No, because the gentleman who was in the mortgage company seemed to indicate that that's what was important. I didn't think it was important in terms of what you were looking for, but the letter that you had from the mortgage people, we're talking mostly all about the fence.
I think that was just evidence of the variance that I had for the fence that was created before my ownership, not during it.
Okay. You're in a non-conforming house,
Yes,
which gives us a little bit of a problem because you're not supposed to do much with non-conforming houses. The only thing you can do in terms of your fences, you would be able to refix that fence. Let's say somebody pulled down a part of it.
True.
You would be allowed to refix that fence, okay? But I'm not sure that you could take it all down and put a new one up.
Okay.
Anyway, that's another whole story. Where are you planning on putting the screen porch? Is it going to be on top of your concrete?
Yes.
Is that where it's going to be?
Yes, it is.
And do you know the size?
The size of the concrete?
No, ma'am. The size of the enclosure.
We-
How big is the enclosure going to be?
How big is that across the pool?
There should be evidence in here that John Cosmos already has all the plans. It was permitted over a year ago, and the concrete was permitted at 1,600 square feet.
I'm sorry, sir. What is your name?
Pete Barnett, 8428
Okay.
Main Street.
Let me just swear you in real quick. Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm that the information that you're about to give is the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
I don't have the blueprints because I've already turned them in, so I didn't know the actual size and figures that
Yeah.
you're requesting, so I apologize for not knowing that.
That's all right. That's the reason why I asked you whether you had your contractor here. Generally, if the guys want the job, they're willing to come and,
I
know,
didn't know
talk
that
to
I
the
was gonna
board.
need him. I'm sure he would have been happy to be here,
okay.
but I didn't realize I needed him.
And this is going to be screened on all sides?
Yeah,
Okay. And how high is it going to be?
it's not gonna be any higher than the peak of the roof of the house. It's supposed to be a little bit lower if I'm not correct.
Okay. Would you know that, Mr. Cosmo?
Well, I didn't go through the plans yet, but. Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I didn't go through the plans yet because I was waiting on the variance. I know the ordinance limits it to 14 feet maximum height.
Right.
And so, yeah, I didn't get a chance to actually go over the plans because pending your decision,
It's 10 feet.
you know, I just said, okay, well, give us the engineered plans. We need them for the variance, but.
Okay.
But I will add one thing, that they were issued a permit last year, from the previous building official, for a foundation that has a footer in it, a 12 by 12 footing, to support a screen enclosure. So it's prepped for a screen enclosure, although technically there's no violation until you go vertical with the setback, so there wasn't a problem until at this point. They didn't know that, so I was just like, well, now you need the variance because you're wanting to go vertical.
Right.
So,
I don't think that you were here when they issued the permit on the concrete work, were you?
no.
No. Because frankly, I don't think that the concrete work is legal. Okay. If you look at the concrete work and look at the fence, it's pretty close. And now to put the fence, the enclosure right on top of that, okay.
It'll be 6.5 feet away from the fence.
I'm sorry?
It'll be 6.5 feet away from the fence.
Okay. Yeah. So I assume that it's going, I noticed that there's 2 layers at the end of the concrete work. One is, it looks like it's a little step down. Is that correct?
Yes, we have to backfill because the concrete, when they leveled it out, the yard wasn't leveled.
Okay, and is the main enclosure going on the top part or on
Yes,
the bottom
on
part?
the top part. It's not, it's just one solid straight piece up.
Yeah.
It just looks like a step down because we had not backfilled to that area.
And will there be an outside door to that fence, to that enclosure?
3.
3. That's good. Okay. Anybody else, James?
I have one question of the city. Were any other comments received besides those that are in the packet? I noticed all the comments from neighbors in the area were all received were all positive. I didn't know if there were any negative comments that might have been received.
Veronica would be the one to answer that.
There were none.
Okay, thank you.
Pat? Anything?
Just,
Oh, I'm sorry. Bill?
just curious, the building inspector, are we allowed to compound variances?
Go ahead.
Are we allowed to compound variances?
Yeah, that's obviously gonna be your decision. I know that you're not supposed to make a non-conforming structure any larger, alter it, other than just maintenance and repair. But in this case, they have an in-ground swimming pool that's existing. They have no way to protect it other than this screen enclosure. I would add, though, the end of the doors.
Variance was issued to protect that. That's why the fence was given a variance.
Long time ago. That was,
That's what it says.
yeah.
It was given the variance to protect the pool.
Well, that's why I mentioned
Right.
that it was
And I just don't
non-conforming
understand
to
how
begin
we
with.
go twice on the same issue. You know, it's the first waterfront property that we see when we come up Old Bay Boulevard, and it's entirely enclosed. Did this board give them a variance, or did the city manager give them a variance?
I don't
Because
know.
don't
I
see any
wouldn't.
evidence of the previous variance. And I hate to do this, I live in this neighborhood. But what I don't see proof of is that you're suffering at all. I mean,
Sir?
you can move your screen enclosure over a bit. It's not gonna go into the swimming pool, is it?
No.
Excuse
but
me, let me
It's not
answer.
gonna go into the swimming pool. It can stay within the variance. You will, however, have the permitted concrete still exposed. But the actual structure will not be in the swimming pool.
No.
The
but it'll
pool
be-
actually protrudes past the face of the house.
Does the screen enclosure go into the swimming pool? Is that why there's a variance? That would be a hardship.
Is this-
Or would
Yeah,
you like more room? If it goes into the swimming pool, then I'm all for it.
It does, it does. In order to build the screen enclosure, you have to protrude further than the building line.
And into the swimming pool.
It will be in the swimming pool about a foot.
That is definitely a hardship.
Right, right.
Okay?
I agree.
I didn't see the hardship until I had that question answered.
Oh, I understand.
No, I wanna make it solid so nobody objects to
Okay,
this.
that sounds great to
You
me.
gotta build something, you had it permitted. You're
Yes,
gonna now have to put it in your swimming pool.
that would be a drawback.
Right.
I think one of the things which was a little bit objectionable to me was that it had nothing to do with you,
Yeah.
okay? But a variance was issued in 2004. I have been on this board for almost 20 years, and no variance ever came across here for that piece of property.
That was
So-
just the piece.
No,
that
no,
you
no,
did.
I'm saying however it came about, it had nothing to do with you, and it's past history, okay? But we were just somewhat concerned because if there's gonna be a variance, we have to issue it. The city manager or anyone else in the city cannot issue that except this board.
I understand
So, again, I just wanted to make that clear. Okay.
So again, the question is, can we compound variances?
I would make a suggestion to the board that you could couple the fence with the screen enclosure to meet the pool protection requirements. You could give them the screen enclosure, for example, and as a condition, require the 4-foot fence, because it's a 6-foot fence. Okay?
Well, I'll work for that.
Yeah. I mean, that's,
Bring the fence into compliance, and you can have the variance on the pool, and I think that meets everything. Again,
It's okay
the
with us.
first water
yeah,
front
well, you're the decision. I can
Yeah.
only enforce what's in the land development code.
You
Right.
definitely
You
have
guys
a
are-
hardship if that thing has to be built inside the swimming pool.
It does,
I think
and
that's made
and it
already.
does. I went out and looked at it myself.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Can't believe we gave him a permit for it.
I think the only thing that we were really having a problem with is we don't like to put a non-conforming something on top of a non-conforming. That's not good, that's not good business for the city.
And especially because the fence was given the non-conforming, we're
Yeah.
told, we don't know anything about it, because of a swimming pool.
So that would be my recommendation to the board.
I love it.
Pat? Anything?
That suggestion to change the fence to 4 foot and,
Bring one in compliance.
and then the screen enclosure is the second, or is the first line of defense, and the 4 foot fence is the second line of defense for the pool.
Bring it back to the board.
Yeah. Thank you very, very much.
What's
Jeannie?
gonna be, excuse me, we're still on, what's gonna be gained by making her lower the fence to 4 feet?
Well, because we're not allowed to do that.
It's two fronts,
Okay.
so
But
you,
if we don't know, yeah, I understand that.
Oh, I'm
If
sorry.
we don't know, it's fine.
And the variance was given for that fence.
Okay, was there actual variance and we have a copy?
We
of that?
can't find a copy of
Well,
it, but it
maybe-
says in the
maybe it was
paperwork.
billed.
No, it says in the paperwork, it was given for the reason of a pool. So we're
Is that from
double
that-
dipping it. I don't
From
know.
the mortgage guy or what?
No, I don't know, it's in
Yeah,
the
there's something from a
paperwork.
mortgage guy, I didn't understand that, but if we have no evidence now in our departments or anything else of a variance ever being issued.
But we know it's a non-conforming fence, don't we?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
all we're asking is
However-
bring one into conformance and you can have. the
However,
other.
it is a grandfathered in fence.
No, it's not a grandfather, and it's
If
a
we don't have,
variance.
if we don't have any record of it, having given it a variance, and Larry doesn't remember it, I've been
Okay,
on.
well, whatever,
Board
we'll
of
agree to
Public
disagree.
Safety.
No
Yeah,
problem.
no problem there, I'm just saying, why would we make her lower her fence when we don't really know that it was ever granted a variance, put that fence there?
Well, that'd be more illegal if we don't know.
we just need to
Close it down
know,
without
Then what that
variance.
says, then any other one that we see is illegal, that we see.
No. This isn't somebody that already has a variant
Mhm.
fence,
Right.
having to lower it, only if they do something for that reason, that they built the non-conforming fence. That's what's happening here.
So if her reason is to keep the cage out of the pool,
Yeah,
then we don't care about the fence, am I correct?
no, the fence was given a variance
But-
because of a swimming
But
pool.
we can't find the variance given
But
to her.
but we know it's a non-conforming fence, don't we?
That's true.
Okay, so in the absence of a variance or having a variance, the building inspector is only suggesting to bring the fence into compliance, to give them the variance to do the pool enclosure.
Okay, one question.
Go ahead.
What's the difference between something being grandfathered in?
It's not grandfathered in, you have no evidence of it, you said that yourself.
You have no evidence of a variance.
But we do have evidence of it being non-conforming,
right?
And that
The-
is,
okay?
that is observation right now.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, the only test I would add, the only test to grandfathering is that it was permitted, approved, and met code at the time it was installed. And if there's no evidence of that, it never would, no matter how long something has been there, it's never grandfathered.
because
Under the
you
building
have
code.
to do it.
Right. It had to be permitted, met code, and approved in order to stand the test of grandfathering under the code.
What year was your house built?
71.
What year was the fence put in?
2000.
2000.
It was built in
Yeah.
2000?
That's correct. Fence.
Yeah.
Then I can,
Yeah, it was not
I concur, yeah.
grandfathered.
Right.
We didn't.
That's why I made the suggestion about
Fence, yeah.
making the swap, and then
I
it takes
agree.
care of the non-conforming fence.
would that be a problem?
Well, the expense of having the fence taken down and cut down 2 feet.
Oh, no, not cut down 2 feet. It's gotta be conforming. You gotta see through it.
See through it.
That's correct. It
I
can't be a
don't know
solid
anything
fence.
about that.
Can't
It's
be
a chain link
solid
fence,
fence.
because it's a body of water that's in the land
It's the first
development.
body of water we see coming up Bay Boulevard. And it's not your fault.
You can't see the water from our house, whether
Well,
there's
no,
a
that's
fence,
the point.
whether there's a fence or not.
No,
You
that's
cannot,
not true.
that is true, and I'll tell you what, I'll open my gates and you can come look.
You had a
But there
councilman
is
that
none.
lived right next to you that fought this for years and never got through it. You remember? Our councilman that lived on the corner, he just fought this all the time.
Well, we have a copy of the variance that says they got a variance for the fence. So, that travels with the property for life. True. Now, all we want to do is put a screen enclosure in
I
to
understand.
enclose our pool,
I understand.
because otherwise it'd be in the middle of the pool if we had to go
understand.
with all this thing.
I understand. and I
So the
agree with
fence
you.
should be nothing The fence is not even talked about here. We want a screen enclosure.
You're compounding variances. You can't have the original fence for the reason of protecting a pool, and then have another.
If you
variance.
read that, it's not for just protection of the pool, it's protection of the whole.
It has
If
to
you
be there
live
for
on Bay
protection.
Boulevard, you got traffic, you got speeders, you got all of this stuff
But
going
you knew
on.
that when you bought the
Privacy,
corner
no, we
property.
did not.
Well, you bought a corner property.
We knew it was a corner property, yeah.
That's all.
Oh, I'm sorry, believe me, I live in the neighborhood, I don't wanna have these arguments. I really
Well,
don't.
I don't either, but we don't live in Florida until the last couple of years. We didn't know about this non-conforming. I was in the real estate business for 25 years.
I'm sorry,
I
the
mean,
guy's dead, you go to jail. You didn't know you shot him, but guess what? He's dead. Because you didn't know is not an argument.
no, but the fact that it has a variance that
Did
travels
you
for
know
life
that
is
you also
is
bought a
part of it.
sinkhole house?
It's in Florida.
Did you buy a sinkhole house that was investigated for it and paid off? How do I know? I was the adjuster. Nobody told you that either, did they?
No, but they do have a copy of the variance in 2000 that travels with the fence. We're not talking about the fence, all we want is the pool enclosure. It's two different things.
Buyer beware.
Excuse me. I want to get into here if I can. I think the problem is that we don't have a copy of that variance.
We do. We got it from the city.
Okay, can I see it, please?
Don't you have a copy?
The copy that Veronica gave me.
Oh, that's what it is. Is that it? Where is it? That's the one that they got from the city.
Oh, Mary did?
They looked it up for us. It was in the city records. Is that what you had?
That was Mary who did that,
Right.
here.
You, yeah.
It's in
And
the
we,
packet.
we even
That's
explained
from
to
the
you that day that we
mortgage.
had
It's
it.
from the mortgage.
Yeah, that's not from the city, though. That would have been, if you got a variance, it would have been from the city, it would have been from this board. It wouldn't, I don't know, I mean, I didn't see this.
We even discussed this with you in your office. You said, oh, I didn't know you had a variance for that. And Mary said, oh, yeah,
Well-
there's a variance for 2000.
When we initially talked about it, and we talked about hundreds of projects all the time,
I understand.
I said if you had a variance, but this is from the Columbia Mortgage. If you had a variance for the fence, okay, this board would have been the one to grant it.
I mean, it's possible that you may have a variance, but we're just suggesting that we don't think it ever came from the Board of Adjustment, and if you had one, it would be interesting to see who issued it. That's what we're saying. And the reason for it. I can understand the reason for it because they wanted to put a pool in, and that's a tough street there without a fence. So I can understand, that very well, but.
It's in the prior paperwork, that this was done with a variance. At least that's what Mary looked up. I mean, that's
Well-
why we said, well, it's already got a variance.
Well, the fence was, you needed the fence to meet the pool protection requirements in the building code. You have to protect the fence, or the pool.
Well, I think that was for the mortgage company, because it probably. owned the
You
property.
can't have an open pool with no fence or screen enclosure. Okay, you have to have pool protection. So when that pool went in, you would have had, at that time, either come up with some kind of a fence variance or put a screen enclosure on it somehow. You'll never see somebody walk off the street and walk straight into a swimming pool because they don't meet the barrier requirements. So
Okay, so you're telling me that in 2000, they didn't have to do anything to get that fence?
no, they would have had to get a variance,
Exactly.
but I'm not saying they did get a variance.
Oh, so they
I'm
just
saying-
put it up and nobody ever did anything about it?
That's
So if I just put
possible.
up my screen enclosure and nobody does anything about it, then I'm in the same boat?
I was just simply trying
I
to
mean,
work out a
I mean, we're going
compromise with
around
the
in
board to get
circles here,
you.
and all we're asking is to enclose our screen porch and leave the fence like it is. To
Thank
keep
you.
the traffic and the noise and all out of the house.
Okay.
That's all
You
we're
get-
asking.
You get nowhere by being argumentative.
I
So,
understand.
sit
But-
down right now and cool off a little bit. I don't think you understand what we're really trying to say because you're so intent on what you want and you're not appreciating what we're trying to say in terms of the property that you have. And that's the problem. The property that you have, you bought it, it was non-conforming when you bought it, and you cannot put anything else on a non-conforming lot. So that's the reality of the situation. Whether it's good for you or bad for you, I'm not talking about that, but that's the reality of the situation. Okay. So, well, let's see what we go from there. I think that I tried to make that as clear and as easy as possible for you. Anybody else?
So just for clarification.
Yes,
It
John.
appears that the city does not have a record of a variance being issued in
Is that-
2000 when the pool was put in, is that correct?
That is
Correct.
It could have been just constructed even without a permit. Do you know if you have a permit on record?
Right, we couldn't find one,
Okay.
Tom,
So
There's-
so there wasn't even a permit for the pool itself then?
Oh, no, I'm talking about the fence.
for the
For the
fence.
fence?
Yeah. Apparently the pool was permitted.
Right.
So we just don't know what
Well,
happened with the
It
fence.
appears that the pool itself encroached into the right-of-way, I mean, into the setback, because it just said that it, we just basically,
Yes,
they mentioned that.
it did.
So that was an encroachment.
Yes.
The fence is a further was a further encroachment, and
Right.
neither of those were issued variances.
But until you go vertical, like the building official said, it wouldn't require a variance to put the pool where the pool was installed.
Right, but you put in the pool and you have to put a protection for the pool.
Yes, that's
Which
correct.
requires something vertical,
Yes.
so which required a variance, which appears not to have been issued.
And we just don't know what happened.
Right. And I will add, I've been in the building department for over a decade. I worked in Collier, I worked in Broward. Stuff goes in all the time. I mean, you guys know that. I mean, without permits, or maybe the building official at the time didn't see the code in the way that most people see it. It just happens. And so we're just trying to do the best to clean up a bad situation. And my suggestion was to make the trade, the non-conforming fence for the screen enclosure, seemed like the best compromise. It's a decision I can't make, only you guys can. Excuse me, guys and ladies. So it's all it gets them the most bang for the buck, and that was my recommendation.
If I can just throw a point out here, if it did receive a variance, I'm sure it would have been followed up with a permit. So if we can't find a permit, then it's a real, did it really happen type thing.
I think the other problem is that this nice young lady bought a house without, as most people do, without looking into any of these kinds of matters. Myself, I think that this is a tough one because I don't like to go into non-conforming on non-conforming, but I will say this. I think that the existing fence has to stay there because of where the property is located on a busy street with a lot of, cars going by and so forth. I'm not sure it's in the best interest of the city to require her to put in not only a smaller fence, but one that you can see through. I mean, I'm only speaking for myself now.
So everybody on Bay Boulevard should be granted that variance?
No, it's a single thing, we just do it one at a time.
Everybody
No,
on
we
Bay
don't, we don't rewrite the code. If everybody wants to come before the board,
Well,
but this is just an
I
assembly.
suggest we call for a motion.
Well, we have a motion for approval.
Oh, the motion was for approval. Okay. Without doing anything else, without making any changes and allowing the enclosure to go up, the motion was for approval. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Nay. You got it, ma'am.
You got it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
Okay.
your time.
I wanted you to understand, though, that we're not being difficult with you. it's our job really to
I
do that,
understand that.
you know.
It's just the logic behind it is not something that I follow on a daily basis, and having it explained to me makes it a little bit easier, but still, I did buy a house, and I did want to make improvements on it, and I've tried to do so far, and that was my whole intent, was to just make improvements on my home.
Welcome to the city of Port Richey.
Thank you very much.
On your,
Any further
one nice thing to
business?
say here, though, is that you are here.
If not,
before,
we'll be
many
adjourned.
People will put things up, and then it's existing, then they come and want a variance,